Well, I guess we're doing this one more time. I didn't realize we'd have to make another video talking about the Vancouver Canucks and their trade situation, but lo and behold, with all the discourse going on Twitter today, we have to go out there and talk about it. So Taj went out there and posted this. Dollywall and LeBrun are reporting that the Canucks, despite all the conversations we had about JT Miller today, are still listening on Elias Pettersson. And what I have here in my bookmarks is a collection of tweets that go out there and just kind of give some opinions. They throw out ideas about the Canucks and how, apparently, according to Cam Robinson, you shouldn't be surprised to hear the Elias Pettersson trade talk ramp back up. Vancouver is unhappy with the offers for Miller, and it'll be a lot easier to recoup value in a Pettersson deal. And I think this is one of the stupidest yet somewhat understandable thought processes that an NHL team could think about in regards to their own trade situation. Nothing against Cam himself. Of course, Cam is a great guy, great reporter, great hockey content creator. But this scoop, man. Oh, we're not getting what we want for JT Miller, so let's just trade Pettersson instead because we're going to get more value for him. Only the Canucks could have a 26-year-old in his prime saying he wants to stay, and a 32-year-old asking to go and stick with that 32-year-old. Only the Canucks, right? Alas, there are some replies on the contrary. I mean, we're going through some of the other things here. According to LeBrun, the Canucks also continue to talk to teams about Elias Pettersson still. Cody had this tweet over here. I thought it was funny. It's the classic trade Schneider because we can't net the value we're hoping for with Luongo maneuver. That's almost exactly what happened all those years ago. The Canucks said, hey, we're trading Luongo, we're trading Luongo, we're trading Luongo, and then boom, 2013 draft comes, they trade Schneider. Great. That move ended up with the Canucks getting Bo Horvat in the 9th overall spot, but ultimately, this was the sort of maneuvering that they did around the trade market to get that done. After saying they were going to trade Luongo, they ended up trading Schneider. Now we're hearing that after all this talk, with JT Miller potentially being the guy, Vancouver is unhappy with the Miller return, and they might be able to get some more assets in a Pettersson deal instead. Scrolling past Austin Matthews, let's go out there and read this tweet from Shoot the Puck. You're only as good as your superstar player, and 11.6 is not even close to good enough. You see Draisaitl out there? He takes over games. He's always a threat. When was the last time Petey did that? It's disappointing, man. Such Canucks luck. Trading Miller is not the answer. $11.6 million crybaby doesn't have it in him to take over games like the superstar players. I agree with you. It wasn't Petey that made the Canucks Oilers a great series last year. Miller was a monster in those games. As an Oiler fan fighting for a cup, JT is the guy who wants it. I agree. This is why in my most recent tweet I said it, trade Petey. The team will regress so badly without JT. EP, not very much if at all. Any EP supporter is about hoping what kind of player he could be. The last year he has been awful for the money. And I wanted to hold on to this opinion a little bit here because I do think that the trading Miller versus the trading JT crowd, oh, excuse me, they're the same guy. The trading Miller versus the trading Pettersson crowd, they're both getting maybe equally passionate about this. I'm seeing a lot of people on both sides of the fence. Of course, for me, as a guy who makes videos about this stuff, I see it in my comment section all the time. I see people talking to me on Discord, people talking to me in real life, hitting me up saying, hey, they should trade this guy, they should trade that guy. For me personally, I would prefer to stick with the younger and higher ceiling Elias Pettersson, but I could totally understand this perspective too. Petey has definitely not been good enough in the past year, and I don't know if it's as simple to say, oh, when Miller was out on his leave of absence, Pettersson was good. Therefore, if you trade Miller away right now, Pettersson will be good again. I think that's a really kind of simple-minded way to look at it. Of course, it can be that easy. It is possible that Elias Pettersson becomes a lot better when JT leaves, and maybe he's not in his head anymore, maybe he takes over games again, maybe he's all great, right? But that's not easy to guarantee. It's not in the slightest. So what you have to build off of is what you're seeing on the ice. And both Miller and Pettersson are playing so poorly. It's just, when you think about Elias Pettersson and what he could be, that's ultimately what you're buying into if you decide to trade JT because you believe that the future #1 center of the team is Elias Pettersson. And you better hope that he is that guy because he is one of the top paid players in the entire National Hockey League. Any EP supporter is hoping what kind of player he could be. The last year he has been awful for the money. Let's get back over onto the tweet by Cam Robinson and read some of the extra discourse here. Don't be surprised to hear the Pettersson trade talk ramp on, yada, yada, yada. They're unhappy with the Miller return, and it'd be easier to get assets in a Pettersson deal. This is crazy reasoning. Robinson says, yeah, I'm just sharing what I'm hearing. EP is the younger franchise center. This would be madness. I'm sure your reporting is accurate, but it's baffling that they would keep the less desirable player because they don't like the offers for him. The market is telling you who can make a bigger impact, and you're choosing the other guy? Just the most Canuck thing ever. I'm okay with this, Tommy went out there and said. Heard a rumor that Demko is unhappy playing in Vancouver. That was in reference to Doug McLean speaking that he doesn't think that Demko wants to suit up for the team right now, considering how bad they've been. It wouldn't be the first time in this market. The Luongo-Schneider story, for example. It's a tale as old as time. Let's go out there and read some of the extra replies here. They should trade Miller in the offseason when there'll be more teams interested in him. Yeah, I honestly do think that that's probably the move here. If there is going to be a big trade going down, it's probably happening in the offseason. I don't know if JT is in a position to get moved right away when you think about some of the conversations about trade returns and them being disappointing. All these teams kind of dipping their toes but not going full send into the JT Miller trade conversations. New York offering scraps, Carolina saying, hey, you're going to have to retain salary. It's weird that the Canucks think they can win a trade for Miller. Chamber 32 Door said, so many risks bringing him into a locker room. I like him as a player, but he's 31, and I think Vancouver is overrating him. Ultimately, I don't think this is a flaw in the thinking of the Vancouver Canucks. They have no choice but to overrate him. He had 100 points last year. He's going through a down year this year. Obviously, his value is much lower than it was a year ago, but it's because we are seeing some of the worst things that Miller can bring. At the end of the day, though, if Miller goes over to some team for scraps, like Jake Gensel, for example, Michael Bunting, and a bunch of prospects and stuff, and he ends up becoming, let's say, a 100-point guy consistently, then everybody's going to be laughing at the Vancouver Canucks because, hey, you lost that trade. You got so little value for a guy who can do 100-point caliber things. But Miller is not demanding that sort of a return right now. So it's a very fine line, and it's a very difficult, blurry process for the Vancouver Canucks to dive into. So honestly, this reasoning, while it doesn't make me think the Canucks are doing this the right way, I do understand like the perspective behind it, the foundation behind this thought process. Hey, we need to make a trade, but Elias Pettersson is the guy that's going to fetch us a lot more. It's not like he's been great either, and he's making a lot of money, so, you know, pick your poison here at this point. It only makes sense just from that Hughes and Perry incident alone. He's looking for someone to hug while JT is mouthing Perry off at intermission, ready to fight him. We can't continue to be soft. We need to be bigger, faster, stronger. Shake this thing up. Let's see where it goes. I don't understand why we can't go after Cousins and whatever pieces follow for Elias Pettersson. This, of course, is in response to some of the stuff that we had talked about in the last video. Corey Perry going out there and ruffling everybody's feathers and making Vancouver's lives a lot difficult. Ultimately, though, all soft, Swede things aside, I wanted to bring this commentary topic up on the channel, whether or not you think Elias Pettersson is the more likely trade candidate at this point. Frank Saravalli on Daily Faceoff said, it's Miller. He's number one on the trade board. He's Robbie Rotten over here. But for Elias Pettersson, I mean, it's Cam Robinson, it's Dhaliwal, it's LeBrun. The Canucks are still going out there and entertaining Elias Pettersson trade talk, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about that? As always, the show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out Express, our affiliate link in the description. We'll save you some money and get you some free months, all while supporting the channel. Let me know in the comments how do you feel about this Elias Pettersson trade update. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.